Thank you. It's really cool to be here. Awesome venue, my first time in Wolfsburg, so this is exciting. I'm Jon. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Kitty Hawk. We do drone operations for consumers and the enterprise. And I think, a lot of times, especially as a startup, we think kind of week by week. So it's cool to be in a venue where we're thinking about the future and transformative technologies, which I think drones will become. One way I like to think about really transformative technology is you forget how subtle the really true innovation, the power comes from. And one example I like to think about is your smartphone, where it does so much, we can't live without it, but it does a few core things that we forget about and that current generations take for granted. We used to get lost. We used to need maps. We used to have to do all these logistical things that we don't even think about anymore. And my first time here, I'm not doing research, I'm not pulling up maps. Everything is in real time because I have my phone. Drones will have that same type of subtle power where generations that look back at what we did today and figure, how did we actually accomplish with that without drones? It'll be that, but more powerful because we're actually dealing with real world atoms, not just bits and bytes. And so it's really cool to think about the power of drones. And there's kind of two things I want to focus on today. Two different elements. One is ubiquity, and the second is access. So let me break those up a little bit. First, ubiquity. Drones will be everywhere. I think a good analogy to think about is when the web first came about, we weren't sure if everyone needed a website. If you did business on the internet, you were a first adopter, but there were plenty of corporations that didn't think that they needed a website. Today, every company, every organization, every government, every agency, increasingly more individuals have websites that are not just informational, but are transactional. And I think drones are going to follow the same trajectory where if you need a drone that directly is impacting your business, if you're a media company that's taking footage, fantastic, that's going to make sense. It will slowly adopt to where every company is utilizing drones in their operations. So if it isn't a first kind of direct product that you're using, if it's supporting a product like an insurance company doing inspections, like manufacturing companies that want to check inventory or assess their security, if it's construction companies that are doing more resource management, slowly, every company that isn't even directly related to drones will use drones. And so this will be accelerated by more autonomous drones that are able to collect and share data more freely. I think we've had some great talks today about data. That's essentially what drones are. They're providing data that we can't get. You can't access a view from above so easily, so cheaply, so automated without drones. It's an amazing tool set. And I think the cool thing in talking with so many companies and organizations that are implementing drones into their business or into their workflows is that it gives them a new perspective. Until you have a drone that you're like, hey, let's use a drone to fly up and check a power plant for you're over at the Volkswagen power plant. You would never think about that. You would kind of not realize this other tool set. So I think that's the first is ubiquity. Every company, everyone is going to be using drones. Everyone in the organization will speak drone. There was a time when kind of the IT guys dealt with the internet or dealt with technology, and you know, not everyone at a company understood what the web was for, what the company's objectives were on the internet. The same will be for drones. Everyone will speak drone. They'll be able to talk about how drones are used at their business. So that's one, ubiquity. The second, and I think this is where things get really exciting, is access. And thinking about how drones can become part of almost a service layer that touches everyone. And so right now, if you want to utilize the power of a drone, you need to own a drone. You need to buy a drone, you need to hire a team, you need to train a team, you need to do insurance and compliance, all of this. There's a lot of infrastructure that goes on. When a drone becomes part of the service layer that you interact with, that changes dramatically. And so I think two examples to kind of frame this more clearly is on the consumer side, we have Uber, we have car sharing. It's an amazing way to use a car without owning a car. It's cheaper, it's easier. you connect with an app. There's a developer type of mentality, a more data type mentality. And it's far better than owning a car, being trapped in that situation. On the enterprise side, think about how we used to buy servers. We used to employ people to manage rooms of servers and deal with that. Now we use Amazon or we use the cloud and we spin up a new server whenever we want to. That is increasingly where drones will become, where it is this connected web of real world applications that the drone is capable of. And so if you want to take video of your daughter's soccer game, you don't need to buy a drone and do that. You could pull it up on your app. A drone will take off, come, complete the mission, send you that video, send you that data, go land, and then it might go do another job where it goes to do cell phone tower inspection at a different location. And so I think this is the way to think about where drones are going, is it is this connected layer, much like cloud computing, much like car sharing, where as consumers and as businesses, we can tap into their ability and receive that data, which is ultimately what they're providing, is really unique data that you can't get without cranes or helicopters or all these dirty, dangerous jobs that drones do, and increasingly the cooler stuff where we just want to have fun pictures, we want to take cool video of our wedding, but how do we actually do that? How do we accomplish that? So there's going to be a whole ecosystem that comes up from this as kind of higher level enterprise companies provide that drone layer, and then developers build and tap into all of these different ways to connect people and businesses to the drones of the future. So in conclusion, this changes everything how we interact with drones. The consumer potential changes, the business potential changes, how we think about the sharing economy, where people kind of don't buy assets, they rent them and they share them. And so drones, as they can not only share and collect data, but share and collect actual physical goods in the world, that changes. And so, it's really this interesting blend of network, data, and real world interaction, where it's not just sharing stuff on a phone through a network, it's physical atoms that we can actually touch and share as well. So thank you. This is awesome. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.